according to this report, two of the protons collided, producing 7 trillion electron volts. It was explained in this report how it happened when the two beams of electrons collided together, producing something which scientists have not known before. That theory, I say, will lead them to the right path, Brother Daniel, because I have a clue in the Bible which scientists must... for them, it is a theory. For me, it's a fact that there really is a particle that they have to discover. I don't know if they will succeed in discovering this particle, but the fact was written in the Bible by an inspired writer of the Scriptures 2,000 years ago in the person of the Apostle Paul. Let us read the book of Hebrews chapter 11, verse 2.
11 verse 2, and it says, "For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." It is a very... it's a very important information being given by the Apostle Paul, who has not any idea of the LHC. Of course, LHC is known only to scientists now. Even Einstein or Isaac Newton have not the slightest idea of the LHC. It is only known to scientists now. The Large Hadron Collider aims to show the missing particle which scientists suspect to be existing in the vast spaces of the universe. A matter that cannot be detected and seen easily. But they believe that it really exists. There is something there. It exists, but they cannot explain. They cannot definitely define what kind of a matter is that. But I have the definition in the Bible, Brother Daniel. 11:3 of the book of Hebrews says, "Through faith we understand that the worlds," meaning the entire universe. You may notice the word worlds there. It doesn't only speak of the earth. In fact, if you are going to look it back, the original language employed in writing this, aeon, properly it means an age. By extension, perpetuity also past. By implication, the world, specifically Jewish, a messianic period, present or future, the age, course, eternal, evermore, etc., beginning of while the world began without end, etc. The worlds there, translated worlds in English, represents the entire universe. It is perpetuity according to the meaning of that word aeon. It's an age, it's a time, it's perpetuity, etc. It represents the entire universe itself. Now, the entire universe, the worlds were framed by the word of God, according to Paul, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. What does that mean? Things which are seen were made of things which are not seen. You see? God was able to produce things that are seen from things that are not seen. You analyze the words, Brother Daniel. Yes, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. It's just the same. Things that are seen were not made of things which are seen. Things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So, things which are seen are made of things which are not seen. That is the idea there. Did you get my point, Brother Daniel?
Yes, Brother Eli. It's just the same as saying that the things which are seen were made of things which
Are not seen.
are not seen.
See. So there are really things which are not seen. Whether it be spiritual or material, there are things which are not known to man. That portion of the report that tells us, bizarrely, both a record high and a small amount of energy. It's a record on the atom-by-atom basis that physicists use to measure pure energy. See, we said, by comparison, that is it. Burning wood or any other chemical reaction on an atom scale produces 1 electron volt. You see, when you burn a wood or any other its action on an atom scale, produces 1 electron volt. Splitting a single uranium atom in a nuclear reaction produces 1 million electron volts. You see, when you burn wood, what happens to the atom is that it produces 1 electron volt. When you burn wood or other chemical reactions that takes place on the atomic scale, produces only 1 electron volt. But in the nuclear reactor, you see there are nuclear power plants, Brother Daniel. Splitting a single uranium atom in a nuclear reaction produces 1 million electron volts. So that is 1 against 1 million. But this is now something bizarre because this produces on an atom-by-atom scale 7 trillion or 7 million times more power than a single atom in a nuclear reaction. You can see now the difference. Burn a wood, what happened to the atom in the wood? It produces 1 electron volt. Or burn other chemicals, it produces 1 electron volt only. In a nuclear reactor, it produces
1 million.
1 million. But in this experiment, they were able to produce 7 million times more power than a single atom in a nuclear reaction. You can see the what's that? How can I say? You can see the astonishing result of this finding. By this, they are trying to prove that really there is something. You know that the atom, the electron, and the subparticles of an atom are the smallest known to man at this time. That's why they were able to invent the atomic bomb. Then after dissecting the atom, they were able to produce nuclear bomb. After dissecting the atom, scientists say this, Brother Daniel, that the atom itself is a universe. You see how wonderful is this? But not many people will understand. Even myself do not understand this purely. But what I mean is, formerly when I was studying a little of science, I have known that the atom is the smallest particle of a matter. But there came a time when scientists were able to dissect the atom, finding what it contains, the neutron, the proton, and the electrons, etc. Now they are even digging deeper to the atom and looking for the Higgs boson or the God particles, the smallest particle of it, which they suspect make up of most of the matter, the unseen matter in the universe, and that unseen matter in the universe is more voluminous or is more than the seen matter in the universe. And that is what they call the God's particle. It is for them a theory, and they are now beginning to discover the reality of that theory with the success of the LHC collider, Large Hadron Collider experiment. But before they come to that idea, it is already in the Bible. When the Apostle Paul said that by the word of God, God framed the world, the worlds, and so things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Meaning, things that are seen, even the atom, were made of things which are not seen. So behind the atom, or if they can see the God particle itself, behind that there's still something which is not seen. So they are in the right track in this experiment, because I know that they are on the right track, because I know even before they started the LHC, I know that things that are seen were made out of things which are not seen, according to the Word of God in the Bible.
It could be so tiny that...
It is so tiny that no human eye or that no human technology have seen it until this time. But it is in the Bible that things which are seen are made of things which are not seen. And that is true. Let us ask the Bible. Let us prove it from the Bible. In the book of Colossians 1, verse 15, it says,
Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature? For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible.
If you can notice, Brother Daniel, not all unseen things are not created. There are things created which are visible, and there are things created which are invisible. So in the Bible, we have a guide that there are things that God have created but are invisible. And from these invisible things, God produced things which are visible. So they are in the right track, suspecting and theorizing that there are what they theorize as the Higgs boson particle or the God particle. They call it the God particle because they cannot see it. But in the Bible, it is described by the Apostle Paul that as things which are created, but they are visible or invisible. So we have that. And that is part of God's wisdom in the Bible. And it's wonderful to know now that man are beginning to unravel things which are, for some time ago, it's not visible to humanity. It is not very much visible to humans to produce something out of two colliding beams of, what's that? Beams of protons. Protons. See, protons are particles of the atom. It's subatomic particle. Electron, protons, and neutron. Those are the subparticles of an atom. Now, they are trying to dissect the protons again and the neutrons, going even deeper. And I believe they are on the right track because they can discover that. If God wills, it can be discovered. Why? Because in the Bible it says, in a prophecy of the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 4, it says,
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
It is not against God's will that knowledge of humanity be increased. You see? The book of Daniel tells us that in the end time, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.